Good evening. I'd like to welcome you all to Athens City Council and call it to order on Monday, June 19th, 2006, 7:30 p.m., regular meeting of Athens City Council, the second one in June. First of all, we have 7 members of council of council present. As acting President Pro Tem, I will be also voting. Communications is the second item on the agenda.
Madam President.
Yeah.
Madam President, this time I'd like to move that we accept the auditor's reports for May. They've been in the council office all this week, last week, for review.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on this? Paul?
Kathy, sometime I'll have some questions about some stuff I just didn't understand. In particular, the revenue report had something that was like, let me see if I can find it. Something about 500% over. And special assessments, I think it was in the 101 budget. I'm not sure what that was. But I'll ask you questions later. Okay.
Any other Amy?
I would just like to remind everybody that the one of the 2006.
You're not allowed yet.
We're just
You gotta
talking
vote,
still
don't.
about the auditor's
Oh,
report.
sorry.
She really wants.
Okay.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded that we accept the auditor's reports of May 2006. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The reports are accepted. Other communications, Mayor?
Amy.
Oh, Amy. Yes, right. Okay, Amy. Please.
The Plains Lions Club Cruisin' is this Saturday at 10 a.m. uptown. They'll be giving out trophies, plaques, there'll be a raffle and DJs. That's this Saturday, 10 a.m. uptown, the first cruise-in of the summer. Remind council.
Mayor?
No report.
Mayor? Auditor, we've already done your job.
Easy.
All right, ordinances for third reading. O6706, an ordinance amending Exhibit A of Ordinance 012605 to increase the staffing level in the police department. I'd like to move adoption of O6706.
Second.
O6706 restores staffing in the police department at the police officer level, patrolman level 219. And we had a soft freeze going on that's been restored and also increases the number of lieutenants by 1. I believe everyone has participated in the discussion, and I'd welcome anyone wishing to speak on this in addition to me. Okay. Silence is deafening. All those in favor of 06706?
Aye.
Opposed? The ordinance passes 7-0. 06806, an ordinance accepting the petition for annexation of approximately 826.586 acres located on State Route 682 and Armitage Road, known as University Estates. Councilmember Phillips.
Madam President, I move adoption of 06806.
Second.
This ordinance is our part in annexing this property into the city. We did receive some communications last week from the attorney for University Estates, and I would like to go ahead and make a couple of comments just to clarify some things. First of all, there was a question raised about some of the lines on the maps. They're kind of a pinkish purple color, and I did pass around a few copies of the color copies of the map. Those lines are proposed but not platted lot lines. The currently platted lot lines are done in blue. So you can see the line that runs through the golf course area isn't the road, it's the proposed lot boundary for the golf course. So I just wanted to, there was a question raised about what those lines were, because it doesn't look like it matches up exactly with the existing road, and that's what they are. They're proposed lot lines. So we did make a note on the map that that's what those lines are. Secondly, I just want to, say that the ordinance itself refers to the development agreement and to the city's intention to uphold our obligations under the development agreement, and to note that that agreement was signed in 2000, which provided ample opportunity to apply for PUD status. In the development agreement, it states that the city will consider a PUD application, and we certainly will whenever such application is made. And further that it's our understanding at this time that it's not within our authority to extend the 120-day time period that's set in Ohio law. The mayor just showed me a flow chart that's used in trainings about annexation that shows several stages when a petition can be withdrawn, and it doesn't appear to be an option at this stage of the process where we are in the flow chart. So we don't really believe we have the option to extend that time, and that we believe it's in the best interests of the residents of the University Estates development to be within the city and to be receiving city services.
Other comments on 06806? Paul, what?
I'll probably vote against this. I think we don't have a bond in place for the road coverage. I think this in the long run, and I hope I'm wrong, it's going to cost us more money than we'll actually accrue in terms of service and maintenance. As far as I know, if we're going to have to go through 4 or 5 tries to get to an annexation point, I hope all the other processes involved in this development will be less painful and less expensive for us. I also would like to note that if we do this and we accept the roads, that we eventually, if we have to replace the roads, will assess the owners of this large cul-de-sac.
Okay, other comments on 06806? Hearing none, all those in
There's
favor?
someone who wants to speak.
Oh, Lance, okay. So timid out there.
Good evening. My name is Lance Repp, Senior Vice President for University Estates. We've met quite a few times in the last 4 or 5 days since the last time we presented the letter to you. And I got a statement that it'd be easier if I'd just read. It's to Bill Bias, President, City Council. As we move forward tonight with the final reading of the annexation ordinance, it will bring an end to a 7-year process and open the door to begin a new expanded relationship in which we can all move forward. Recently, there has been considerable dialogue between the city's administrative, legal, council members and University Estates trying to understand and arrive at a common ground for this unique and very large mixed-use planned unit development that will benefit the city of Athens and the county and surrounding area. I want to commend Councilperson Phillips as chair of the Planning and Development Committee for her cooperation and understanding in getting the additional language in the ordinance, recognizing the idea that we want to go forward with the PUD and the zoning and the overlay and the process that's involved. And we'd like to do that in a timely and affordable manner. The University Estates project is vast in nature, presenting challenges and exceptions not experienced or expected during the formation of this current city ordinances. It is important that we enter the next phase of our relationship with an open mind and understanding approach that quickly recognizes challenges and opportunities within the approval process, being either administrative or planning commission council related, and addressing them in the spirit of the development agreement. As I stand before you tonight, council members, and President Bias is not here, we ask that you continue to support our project, and we plan to work cooperatively with you in the rest of the process to complete our process in the annexation and become a member of the city of Athens. So with that, thank you very much for all your time and effort.
Any other comments on 06806? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
The ordinance passes 6-0. 016
6-1.
6-1, I'm sorry, Paul. 06906, I was already up and ahead. An ordinance designating the zones for the annexation area located on State Route 682 and Armitage Road, known as University Estate. Councilmember Phillips.
And Madam President, I move adoption of 06906.
Second.
This ordinance designates the zones. It refers to the memo from the Planning Commission and to the maps which are attached. The memo includes the fact that part of the project has been platted and part of it has not yet been platted. So The zones are approximate, and when the platting process goes through the planning commission, those lines will be brought into conformity with the legal descriptions as they become platted. So the part that's currently platted, the lines are connected to the existing legal descriptions, and the part that is yet to be platted will be brought into conformity with that when it goes through the platting process.
Other comments on zoning 06906? Follow on.
I look at the cul-de-sacs being R3 as a problem in the future. I think it's a poor design. It gives a lot of variance, or rather leeway for the developer, but I'm not sure if this is an appropriate structure for a cul-de-sac, or any cul-de-sacs.
Other comments on 06906? Lance? Anyone else? Okay. All those in favor of 06906, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
6-1 is the final vote on that one. 07006, an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Athens, Ohio, to enter into an agreement with the state of Ohio for an easement for water main on land under the jurisdiction of Ohio University and declaring an emergency. I move adoption of 07006. 07006 puts into final form an already existing water loop out in the vicinity of the Continental properties on the far east end of Athens. Any other comments on 07006? All those in favor of 07006 say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 07006 passes 7-0. 07106, an ordinance banning parking and closing that portion of Court Street from President to Carpenter Street on October 28th and 9th, 2006, in anticipation of a large number of people converging on downtown Athens, Halloween weekend, in parentheses. Councilmember Patterson.
This is the first of three ordinances. I move for adoption of 7106.
Second.
This is the first of three ordinances relating to Halloween '06, and they represent no basic change from the ordinances in the last few years, with the thought that we will continue to study other, a bit more dramatic possibilities that we would consider in the fall following Halloween. But there were problems concerning time constraints, and so it seemed to be in our best interest to get these passed, in place, and prepare for this year's event.
Okay, other
Paul?
Paul?
Two things. One, it sounds like it'll cost us another $60,000 this year, and I have a problem with that. Two, just to make you aware that I did receive an email from a listserv that is developing for Halloween. I think it's coming out of Frognet, but I don't know the
It
exact
is out of
address.
Frognet,
Okay,
yeah.
so this is with the intent of trying to craft something for next year, something better for next year.
It actually is looking at this year's event and trying to do things to improve the health and safety, the calmness of the event, and hopefully financial improvement.
Should they contact you for the listserv, or do you know?
Well,
offhand?
Bill Hayes is the one that put it together, and he's been here for several council meetings. And so this is really the citizens and the students putting together information network. I said that the city was maxed out, that we couldn't do further
So it's
things to
their-
coordinate it, and they stepped forward and said they would.
Okay.
Other comments on 07106? Hearing none, all those in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
The ordinance passes 6-1. 07206, an ordinance suspending the enforcement of Athens City Code Section 13.04.10, unnecessary noise in the downtown area on October 28th and 29th, 2006, Halloween weekend. Councilmember Patterson.
Madam President, I move for adoption of 7206.
Second.
This, again, is the same as last year, with the exception of listening to the code office, just designated the time as during the time of the bandstand performances, so that they have a little bit more flexibility.
Any other comments on that ordinance? 07206. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same
Aye.
sign. The ordinance passes 6-1. 07306, an ordinance suspending the enforcement of Athens City Code, Chapter 11.04, vending, peddling, and soliciting, to allow vending in a designated area on October 28th and 29th, 2006, Halloween weekend. Councilmember Patterson.
Madam President, I move for adoption of 7306.
Second.
This is the final of the 3 Halloween ordinances, this one addressing vending.
Any other comments on 07306? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
The ordinance passes 6-1. 07406, an ordinance closing a portion of East State Street on August 6, 2006 to accommodate farmers market and local artisans. Councilmember Patterson.
Madam President, I move for adoption of 7406.
Second.
This essentially is just moving the farmers and artisan market for the August first Sunday, and this is moving it down into the retail sale areas on which East State, yes, East State, the end of East State, and to see how that works out. And we are working to make it more of an event with the retailers down there.
Any other comments on 07406? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
The ordinance passes 7-0. 07606, an ordinance amending the 2006 appropriation ordinance. Councilmember Sands.
Madam President, I move adoption of ordinance 7606.
Second.
This ordinance moves forward 3 separate sets of money from some court grant funds. One is approximately $34,000 to the Community Corrections Act Grant Fund. Another is $2,300 to that same. The first one is Community Corrections Act Grant Fund, Transaction Class 100, which is payroll funding. Another $2,300 to that same grant fund, but in the supplies transaction class. And finally, $7,000 to the Underage Drinkers Fund, again in the personnel payroll transaction class.
Comments on 07606? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance passes 7-0. Ordinances for second reading. 07706, an ordinance providing for the issuance of $3,500 of notes by the City of Athens, Ohio, in anticipation of the issuance of bonds for the purpose of paying part of the cost of renovating the city's parking garage and declaring an emergency. What did I say? 3,500? 350,000. Reading error. Mr. Sands, are you going to move?
Yes, I am. Madam President, I move that we consider ordinance 7706 under suspension of the rules.
Second.
As we discussed in committee meeting, in council meeting, I guess it was, last week when this was introduced, we would probably need to suspend the rules because this whole set of ordinances has a time limit where these applications have to be completed, and we won't meet before that time limit arises.
Any other comments on suspension of the rules only? All those in favor of suspending the rules on 07706 say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The rules are suspended.
Madam President, this is a ordinance that does just as its title says. It approves issuance of $350,000 of notes for paying part of the cost of renovation. I move to adopt this because because it does as it says. It approves this money, $350,000, to pay costs of renovating the parking garage. Carol, you did that. You remember how much the total was?
1.2 million, I believe.
So we're paying down, and this is originally
I believe
over
that's
$1 million. In this round, we are paying it down $150,000 from $500 last year. So we're we're paying this off fairly rapidly. So this is $350,000 note for the parking garage.
Other comments on 07706? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Adopting 07706, okay. All those opposed, same sign. The ordinance passes, 7-0. 07806, an ordinance providing for the issuance of $2 million of notes by the City of Athens in anticipation of the issuance of bonds for the purpose of paying part of the costs of acquiring and constructing improvements to East State Street and declaring an emergency. Councilmember Sands.
Madam President, again, I move for suspension of the rules on 7806.
Second.
For the same reasons, the time frame for this is too short for us to have another meeting.
All those, or any other comments on suspension of the rules only? Hearing none, all those in favor of suspending the rules on 07806, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. The rules are suspended. Councilmember.
Madam President, I move adoption of ordinance 7806.
Second.
Again, the title is very descriptive. This is $2 million worth of notes to pay for improvements on East State Street. Unfortunately, we're not paying anything down. The current note is $2 million. We're just rolling it over. However, our TIF agreement has gone into effect, and we hope that by this time next year, we'll have a significant amount to pay down.
Any other comments on 07806? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting 07806, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. 07806 is adopted, 7-0. 07906, an ordinance consolidating two bond anticipation note issues of the City of Athens into a consolidated note issue and establishing the terms of such consolidated note issue and declaring an emergency. Councilmember Sands.
Madam President, I ask that we consider 07906 under suspension of the rules.
Second.
This is the third of this set of ordinances, and as it says, it just simply combines them into one bond issue. The city will save some interest, hopes to save some interest rates on that. Yes.
All right, all those in favor of adopting,
I think, you know what, I think I moved ahead. I think that was
Suspension.
just a suspension. I
Okay.
said more than I should have.
okay, well, we'll just do them right in a row then. All those in favor of suspending the rules on 07806, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The rules are suspended. You move it out.
That was 079.
Yeah,
07906.
Right.
We're moving adoption of 07906 right now.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of adopting 07906? Say
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. 07906 is adopted. 08006, an ordinance authorizing the auditor to renew the note authorized by ordinance 05105 to meet city obligations in the sewer fund and declaring an emergency. Councilmember Sands.
Madam President, I ask that we consider ordinance 8006 under suspension of the rules.
Second.
This is, it's up to me, okay. This is, again, this is an unrelated ordinance to the prior three. However, it also needs to, the action needs to be taken before we will meet again.
Okay, all those in favor of suspending the rules on 08006?
Aye.
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 All right, sounds like a chorus. All right, opposed, same sign, 08006 is adopted, 7-0. Suspension, I'm sorry,
Okay, now I move adoption of 08006.
we need Bill.
Second.
This authorizes the auditor to renew a loan that we have taken out from Hocking Valley Bank to make some payments for actions that the city needed to take last year with regards to the sewer fund. We're simply rolling this note over again.
You might indicate.
I'm sorry?
You might indicate how much money.
It is, I'm sorry, I thought it said that in there, $275,000.
Okay, other comments on 08006? Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign, 08006 passes, 7-0. 08106, an ordinance amending the 2006 appropriation ordinance. Councilmember Sands.
For the last time, Madam President, I
We're out
ask
of
that we
second
consider,
readings.
that we consider an ordinance under suspension of the rules, 8106, please.
Second.
For the same reasons as the prior four, the action needs to be taken before we will meet again.
All those in favor of suspending the rules, say aye.
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 Opposed? The rules are suspended.
Thank you. Madam President, I move adoption of 08106.
Second.
This ordinance has three parts. The first, it appropriates from the unappropriated balance the sum of $100,000 to the general fund. This sum is to allow the auditor's office to pay income tax refunds to people who rightfully ask for them. This increases the amount that they've already budgeted, which was $100,000. They have a surprising amount of refund requests this year, although this is the same amount that we ended up refunding last year. The second part is $5,000 to the City Enhancement Fund, which allows the city to pay the school board, Athens City School Board's share of the funds that we receive from the
Service.
Athens Station
Yeah.
project, right? And a similar $50,000 to the general fund to also pay the city's, to pay the city school board's share of service funds that we receive from University Courtyard development.
Other comments on 08106? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. 08106 passes 7-0. First reading. 08206, an ordinance amending Athens City Code, Title 13, General Offenses, Chapter 1304, Offenses Against Public Peace, Section 130410, Unnecessary Noise, introduced by all members of council. Mr. Sands.
Madam President, this is amending our current noise ordinance to change the times basically to change the times that enforcement begins. Currently, in the evening, from Sunday evening through Friday evening, enforcement begins at 11 p.m. This ordinance changes the commencement time to 10 p.m. And actually, that's the only action that's taken in this amendment.
Thank you. Any other comments, Paul?
I did watch this last meeting for the committee on this. I think it's a good idea. I know the neighborhood association probably like this. At the same time, I suspect the students, if they're into conspiracy theories, would probably think we're doing it during the summer for a reason. But at the same time, I think this would make it a little bit better for the residents.
Okay. Other comments on 08206, first reading?
I just have a clarification question on this. No, each Sunday evening through Friday morning, that's every day, but Friday and Saturday nights, or between the hours of 12 a.m. and 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday mornings. Okay,
So we only changed the weekday.
okay, right.
We only proposed to change it.
Right. Okay.
Madam President, I would add a comment too, that some folks have talked to me about the idea of requiring the warning, and it looks like that's already in there to me. That it, toward the end of this, does say, a violation of this section shall be a minor misdemeanor for people who persist in such violation after reasonable warning. So I just wanted to point that out, that after reading it more closely, it looks like that's already there.
Well, you can be cited for a minor misdemeanor without the warning. Is that what you're thinking? It kicks up to a 4th degree misdemeanor after the reasonable warning.
Oh.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, I misread it. Yeah, I'm sorry, it does. You'd have to give a warning. I'm sorry.
It's a warning, I'm sorry. It's a warning or a request to desist. So if the police officer says, please turn it down, and they don't, right? That's what this means. Then they can be cited for a misdemeanor of the 4th degree. Okay.
Other comments on 08206? All right, we've had the first reading. Second, 08306, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into lease agreements for storage space and parking at the Armory. I was the person who talked about that last time. We are lucky, I guess is the word, to have potentially a focus for what seems to be the very can't think of a good word, very new energy that's being shown in the businesses on North Court Street. And I believe in the long run, we may see some other commercial uses in the Armory. Meantime, this ordinance will allow the mayor to work with people that need storage space, as is storage space, and allow them to use it. Other comments on that one? Paul?
I was under the impression we were already leasing parking. Isn't that the case?
Mhm.
So do we need an agreement for it if it's already done, or is it just after the fact?
I believe there's an agreement already for the
Mhm.
parking, but we were only utilizing it on one side of the building currently because of brick disrepair on the other side. I think it just reinforces that since parking's already done and this adds a new one, we just put both there, but we didn't,
Okay, just wondering.
Okay, any other comments on that one? 08406, an ordinance amending the 2006 appropriation ordinance. Councilmember Sands.
Madam President, this ordinance appropriates some money to do the work that the mayor alluded to on the Armory. There have been some obviously loose bricks appearing higher up on the walls, and the city has had an engineer look at that to make sure it was not a structural problem with the building. It has been determined it is not. They're just some loose bricks which need mortar repaired. There are quite a few of them, so we're appropriating $6,000 to take care of that work. When that is done, the parking spaces that we are not currently leasing out will once again be deemed to be safe to be leased.
Do you think it's necessary to suspend on this, given the time?
Mayor, I'm sorry.
Would it be necessary to suspend, or will next time be sooner? It doesn't
I'll
controversial.
talk to the contractor to see I already have 12,000 appropriated
Mhm.
in those line items, which we spent some on utilities, so we might do it in a two-stage, but I'll talk to the contractor to see what.
Okay.
If you have money, you don't,
I
the
don't
only
have
reason
enough
for the
to do
ordinance.
The whole contract.
Oh, you don't have enough money for it?
No, it just has to be.
I can do phase one and then tell them that by the 10th or 17th of July, council would have the other ready. What's his schedule as to when he would be,
Good.
at what point?
So we'd
I'll
have
ask him
the
that.
parking ready for the start of the school year potentially.
Right.
Okay.
I think I can do it.
You think you can
Just
do
a
it? You
suspension,
just promised you
yeah.
wouldn't, but go ahead.
Madam President, I ask that we consider ordinance 8406 under suspension of the rules.
Second.
We've just heard discussion that this money may be necessarily expended before our next meeting again.
So there's a time constraint. Anybody else speaking on suspension? Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The rules are suspended.
Madam President, I move adoption of ordinance 8406.
Second.
We've just spoken about this ordinance and the reasons for the suspension of the rules.
We're going to increase the number of parking places in North Court Street when we have this done. Okay. All those in favor of 08406, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ordinance is adopted. 08506, an ordinance creating an unclaimed monies fund and establishing guidelines. Councilmember Sands.
Madam President, we heard our treasurer speak last week about this ordinance. I think most people know that our city auditor's office is audited by the state auditor with some consistency, and one of their suggestions was that we establish a fund for unclaimed funds, basically unclaimed checks, possibly payroll checks that we've written and have never been cashed, et cetera. And so this is an ordinance which simply complies with that suggestion.
Jim?
Yes.
Well, I was just going to add, last week, somebody asked how much money that was, and neither Mary Ann or I were sure. The actual total that we consider unclaimed money right now is over $26,000. The amount that's over 5 years old, which would then automatically go into the general fund, is over $23,000. So it's a little bit more than we even thought, although there are some names and businesses on the list that we recognize, and we are going to, in the next, while this ordinance works its way through the process, we will contact people. So that won't, we probably won't be moving that full amount into the general fund, but I'd say it'd be close to $20,000.
Thank you. Going on, the language in this ordinance says that after the holding period has expired and the funds have not been claimed, they shall be transferred to the general fund. The holding period in the Ohio Revised Code is 5 years. So funds that we've already held for 5 years, once this ordinance is effective, will be transferred to our general fund. Thank you.
Thank you, that's okay. The next ordinance for first reading is 08606, an ordinance amending ordinance 07506.
No, we're not
Oh.
voting.
Oh, we didn't suspend. I thought we did
Yeah, you-
suspend.
No, we didn't.
Not on that one. Got it.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, I was just talking, you thought I was suspending.
Okay.
Jim had the floor, there we are. An ordinance amending 07506, repairs at the municipal pool. Councilmember Patterson.
It's 86.
08606,
Yes.
amending 07506. But it's amending 07506.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Madam
We're all
President,
sorry.
I move to suspend 86, suspend the rules on 8606. It's my turn.
Second?
The reason for the suspension is the repairs are done, the kids are swimming, and business as usual, so it'd be nice to pay the bill.
Okay, so it's a time. Any other comments on suspending the rules? 08606. All those in favor of suspending the rules?
Aye.
Not is no, so it's 7-0, the rules are suspended.
Madam President, I move for adoption of 8606.
Second.
This ordinance is to expend $45,700 for the repair of the pool. It's coming out of capital improvements. I guess the good news is that because the work's already done, we know that's the accurate amount, and so it's not going to change.
Good. Other comments on 08606? Hearing none, all those in favor? 08606, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ordinance passes 7-0. 08706, an ordinance closing a portion of Court Union High and Washington Streets on Saturday, August 12th, 2006, for the King Midget Jamboree. Councilmember Flowers.
Okay, I will not be suspending the rules. This ordinance, I know it was discussed in committee when I was not here. And I know the question was raised whether or not High Street was actually going to be accessible for the King Midget cars to do their testing of the cars to go up the hill. Discussed with the mayor today that he is sure that it will be done. So High Street will be available for them to do their test run. I will say at this time that we might have to possibly amend. I'm not sure if the times are correct. I'll have to check on that. But everything else is in order.
Thank you. That ends the ordinances for first reading. One reading resolutions, we have 3 of them. The first one is R0506, a resolution encouraging American Electric Power to upgrade equipment and service in the city of Athens. I would normally move to adopt this resolution at this point in time, but it is my understanding that the representatives sitting in the audience through all of this from the American Electric Power would like to speak a bit about scheduling a committee meeting. Is that so?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you step forward, give your name and We can move to table it in a moment.
Yes, ma'am. My name is John Buck. I'm Community Affairs Manager for AEP Ohio in this area. My territory, roughly speaking, is Hocking, Athens, Meigs County, and everything west in the southern part of the state. And I'd like to thank the mayor and council for allowing us to be here tonight. It's always a pleasure, Mayor. And I'd like to introduce our folks who are here. Jeff Rennie, who's our primary corporate communications consultant. Tim Saifang is Manager of Distribution Systems, commonly known as District Manager. And Milt Schaefer, who's the Customer Services Representative. And Milt's been handling the obvious situation uptown that's been getting a lot of attention. We've become, of course, familiar with your reliability concerns through the recent stories that appeared in the news media. And certainly there is a load issue uptown that we've worked with our customers about. In fact, I think Milt plans to work with those folks again tomorrow and continue to do so. And we feel like that this is a situation, correct me if I'm wrong here, Tim, but we feel like this is a situation in that local area that will be remedied with the replacement of this transformer that we've been talking about increasing the size of. So that's to be scheduled with our customers, and we're working closely with them. We do understand that obviously council was considering a resolution. We respectfully request that council please consider allowing us to respond to this matter in the form of a meeting of whatever would suit you, whatever forum. Be it come to a council meeting in 2 weeks, come to your open discussion meeting next week, or during a committee meeting. And we would be happy to be there. We will have information to address some of your concerns. I did get a copy from the mayor of your resolution, and that could be kind of a template for us to use to respond to some of your concerns, and perhaps call the mayor if we need clarification on something like that. So we do request that council please consider tabling the resolution until we have an opportunity to do this in the near term. We also feel like there are, one of the key issues is load identification. And talking to the mayor about this today, as part of this whole process, we feel like that we can perhaps come up with some type of solution or solutions to deal with that. Very common, it's difficult to find out any load changes unless it's a new service or if a customer upgrades their service in some fashion, new facilities and so on. When it's just added with their existing equipment, it becomes increasingly difficult to identify what the load situation may be. So maybe we can identify as part of this whole process over the next week or two, whatever you would decide, to address that issue too, because I think that is a key component of this thing. So,
Mr.
yes.
Buck, I appreciate the seriousness with which you responded to our resolution. And with that, I'll move to table it.
Second.
All those in favor of tabling resolution R050806?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is tabled, and we will see you potentially next Monday. We'll add you to our agenda.
Next Monday.
City Services.
We'll be glad to be there.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That would mean also that you might be willing to listen to comments on trees?
Well, we always would be, yes.
Yes, but do something about the trees, maybe? Now, there's a concept. Okay, and we will hear from you then. Thank you very much.
Thank you, appreciate it, thank you.
R0606, a resolution supporting youth sports in Ohio. Councilmember Patterson.
Madam President, I move to adopt R0606.
Second.
This is a resolution offering our support to a youth sports in Ohio program, and actually, basically, that's what it is on the state level. That June 20th, 2006 will be Youth Sports Day in Ohio, and recognize and encourage our community to implement the recommendations for communities to provide safe, positive, fun environments for our youth and their families.
Other comments on RO 6?
I guess I have a question. Does this kind of training and initiative take into account, I want to say, what I understand to be, like excessive competition by parents and various, what I understand about youth sports today, the parents sometimes, get a little bit out of hand and yell and kind of push their kids without, kind of understanding good sportsmanship. So I guess my question is, I support, increased youth sports, but I wondered if this initiative and some of this training, et cetera, and recommendations for communities incorporates kind of good sportsmanship on the part of both the youth and their parents.
I would hope so, but I certainly don't really have any idea.
Okay.
So maybe read the last whereas. Whereas we believe that volunteer coaches and parents should receive orientation and education as to their roles and responsibilities in our state's effort to provide a safe, positive, and something
Youth.
sports environment.
Well, yeah, are we to,
It's not actionable, but it's there, that we.
but, is that clear enough to say that? Safe?
So give us
Yeah.
some other language, but it's a whereas.
We believe that volunteer should receive orientation and trainings as to safe, positive, and congenial.
Well, would you accept that amendment?
Or,
Councilmember?
I don't know what "un" means. There is an "un" in
It's
there.
basically a typo.
Oh, fun.
If you
Oh,
look at the other
fun.
use, sports.
Positive and fun?
Safe, positive, and,
Fun?
See, there's a fun here.
I'm sorry.
well, yeah, it says fun. As long as that's our understanding of it, that we would encourage.
To me, it does
Okay.
say that, but
Okay.
unless I attended the event, I couldn't tell you exactly, how strongly that's emphasized.
Safe, positive, and good sportsman-like environment or something. It's up to you.
Put that in the minutes. All right. Other comments? RO 606? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution RO 606 passes. 7-0. RO 706. A resolution supporting the opportunity for the City of Athens as location for the International Space University during summer 2008. Councilmember Patterson.
Well, Madam President, I move for the adoption of RO 706. I'm going to read this. Maybe I should have read the other one in its entirety as well. But whereas the City of Athens is being considered as a location for the International Space University to be held during the summer of 2008, and whereas the program would include 120 students enrolled for a period of 9 weeks and will have upwards of 100 to 130 visitors, professors, astronauts, professionals in the field. And whereas Athens is a typical American small city providing a rich cultural experience for international participants. And whereas the City of Athens will encourage local businesses to offer a discount coupon program for participants. And whereas the City of Athens welcomes the opportunity to support Ohio University's proposal to host this worldwide event. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Athens, Ohio, that the City of Athens enthusiastically supports our city as the location for the International Space University during the summer of 2008, that this resolution shall be in full force and effect at the earliest moment permitted by law upon its passage and approval by the mayor. And I thank Debbie for our joint venture in writing this, putting it together. But this is to go in a packet with the proposal to consider Athens as the location for this event. So it's just part of a presentation saying that as the City Council, we support the idea.
Okay. Any comments?
Minor thing. I think this is an exciting opportunity. Just in the second whereas, it says 100 to 130 visitors. Maybe it should say visiting professors, astronauts, and professionals. It's just a
Wouldn't that be a
typo thing.
Typo.
Friendly.
Typo.
Visiting professors.
Other comments, RO 706? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution passes 7-0. 8 is announcements and other business. It seems we will have a City Services Committee meeting next week because the Clean Committee would like to give their report. And we will also have the American Electric Power first up whenever my committee meeting is scheduled. There will be some other things on that, other people. Debbie, or I mean, Amy?
Sure. Transportation committee meeting to discuss the street closing that the university has requested. We said that we would have an additional committee meeting and to discuss it further. There were a lot of questions posed last time, so.
Yes, I even heard some of them at home, yes.
I just want to announce, I mentioned a couple weeks ago that we're working on setting up a session to work on a review of our floodplain regulations and learning a little bit more about higher standards that communities can adopt. And we do have an appointment now for Cindy Cresalius from ODNR to come down and do a presentation for us on July 12th at 10 o'clock. Anybody wants to get that on their calendar.
July
AM?
12th?
Yeah.
Any other committee meetings set next week? I believe, Paul?
I put environment on miscellaneous, I'm not sure yet, but maybe trees. If it
Maybe
doesn't,
trees?
if it isn't covered in yours, it'll be covered in mine.
Okay. We probably have some solid waste issues to discuss as well.
Quite possibly.
I have a
Anyone else?
question.
Amy?
Debbie, what time was that meeting on the 12th? Or not,
Yeah.
what time, where?
Here.
Here.
Okay.
Is it 10 a.m.?
10 a.m. Okay, the next item is opportunity for citizens to speak on legislative items and city services not covered on the agenda. Okay, 10 is canceled,
Do we need a motion to do that?
so having met all of our obligations, this meeting is adjourned. Get outside before...